I'm doing a review on the Interlinear Bible. This is in the Hebrew and the Greek, and it does come in a 4-volume set. So, actually, this is a good, worthwhile investment. This will help you if basically to get an understanding of what the Bible was actually saying in the original language, and it has some very valuable tools that will help you in your study process, whether you can either read Hebrew or Greek or English is the language that you understand and you're not able and you don't have the time to learn Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. This is a great tool here because it's key to the Strong's Concordance, so you can actually look up, and it does also have the English literal translation and the word-for-word translation as how it was actually written in the original text, where you can actually see what it was actually saying at that time there, and a literal translation that puts it in a more of a readable understanding terms which we can understand today. Like I said, it does come in 4 volumes. This is volume 1 here. This goes from Genesis to Ruth here. So we'll kind of look here, and this is more or less from the majority text here. So it is a different perspective than the Alexandrian text, but I think you should also study in both types of text there to get a good understanding of the Word of God for yourself. I recommend everybody should be reading and studying out of 2 to 4 different translations, more than just one translation alone. I think it'll help you in your growth and your understanding of the Word of God, and you can learn to appreciate other translation even though it may not be your primary translation. So we'll just kind of look at this one here. So I'll go to Genesis. If you kind of look at here, as you look over here to this side here, this is the literal translation here. And if you can see here, you see the Hebrew word, and then you see the Strong's number and the actual English translation, the English of that word there, broken down in English there. So you can actually, in the Hebrew, in the Old Testament, it reads different than how we normally read in the English language. So on this particular one and all Hebrew text, rather than reading left to right, it actually reads right to left. So it takes adjustment to getting used to reading opposite of the way in which you normally read here. So like you said here, like I'm looking at Genesis 1, which in the very first word, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And if you look at that in the literal translation of the Hebrew text, it is in the beginning created God the heavens and the earth and the earth. So it reads a little bit awkward in the original text, but I think it'll help you get an understanding. And if you have some knowledge of actually being able to read Hebrew, this will benefit you because it has a Hebrew text there in which you can actually read the Hebrew text, and you can look up in any of the words in a Strong's Concordance. I know a lot of people don't really use concordance, but I think they're a valuable tool here. This is one I have here. I have this one here. This is in the New American Standard. I also have several King James versions of that there, and I did have it one time, but I gave that away to someone years back. It was the NIV Strong's Concordance. So those are only 3 translations that actually use a Strong's Concordance. And the ESV has a concordance, but it just helps you look up verses, but it does not give any Strong's where you can actually look it up. This is the Old Testament here, and this is the New Testament here. So it's actually 4 volumes. On this here, it retails right now. You can get it at Christian Books for $59, and it normally sells for $139. I think Amazon has it available for actually Amazon has it available for $79, so you can get quite a bit of savings for getting it from christianbooks.com. Now they also have a 1 volume, but the print is very small on that 1 volume set. It's a very big book. It's probably a lot thicker than this concordance here, and it's a lot even larger size. But on that one there, the font is 4 points, so it's real small font here. On this one here, this comes with 7-point font, so it is readable. So that's why I prefer the 4 volume set over the over the large one volume, because the large one volume, I picked it up and looked at it several times in the Christian bookstore, and it's real difficult for me to read. Now, if you have perfect 2020 sight, it may be ideal for you to read, but I think that puts a lot of strain on the eyes here. So I'm just going to kind of like go through it and kind of show you on Numbers chapter 11, verse 34. And it says here in the little translation of that, and this is talking about in Numbers chapter 11. If you actually look at, I'm just going to look it up in the King James to show how it actually reads in the King James Version here. So on this verse here, Numbers 11, verse 24, as it reads in the King James. It says, and while their flesh yet their teeth between their teeth, and ere it chewed, the wrath of the Lord kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a great plague. And they called the name of the place Karat Hata'ava, because they buried the people that lusted. Now, see, if you look at it in the original translation, that actual word is the grave of lust. That location was known as the grave of lust. And this is how the same verse in the literal version of that reads out in this particular Bible here. The meat was yet between their teeth, and it was not yet out of, and the anger of Jehovah glowed among the people, and Jehovah struck among the people with the very plague. And the one called the name of the place the graves of lust, for they burned the people who lusted. So this actual location is called the graves of lust, because they lusted for the meat of Egypt, and God had to wipe out those people because of their desire not to trust him, but wanted the things of the past to add them comfort, wanted the foods of the past. So, and then if you look at here in the Legacy Standard Bible of the same text here, and this is the same text here. In the Legacy, on the wrong place here. So the Legacy Standard Bible here, it reads here, so the name of the place is called Kerboto Habanon, because they buried the people who had been greedy. For Kerbot, the people set on Hebron, they remain in Hezerah. So this is called, they buried the people who had been called greedy. So just a little bit different view here. So it kind of brings out a great meaning of what the text is saying in this one here, and you can always look it up in a Strong's Concordance or some of the other word study tools that are available, and there's some of them that you can use online also. So like I said, this comes in a 4-volume set here. So there's another verse I'm going to take a look at here, and this is Psalms chapter 18, verse 24, and it says, a man of friends may be broken up, but there's a lover who sticks closer than a brother. So the King James verses and the New King James version said a man must show himself friendly, but the original text brings out a different perspective of that there. If you take a look at it in original text, and what it is actually saying is a man of too many friends come to ruin. So if you have too many friends, you're divided about, you're trying to please a lot of people because you're trying to be friends with them. And then if you're always trying to be friends with a lot of people, guess what? You're going to never satisfy everybody, and somebody's going to have something to say negative against you. So if you, and we'll just kind of look at what it does say in the New American, not the New American Standard, but the Legacy Standard Bible says, a man of too many friends comes to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. So it's better to have a small nucleus of good friends that you can depend on in adversity, versus having a whole lot of friends and you can't depend on anybody. And if you have a load of friends, what are the reasons why they're your friends? You know, everybody that say they're friend might not be your friend, but you know who your true, real friends are, that'll stick beside you no matter what. They will tell you the truth no matter what, even if that truth may offend you. So, like I said, this is a great source here. And then the New Testament here. There's not a red letter here, but the New Testament is in the Greek here. So on this one here, and we'll just look at here, Romans chapter 13, verse, if you look at how it reads in the literal translation of that there, and it says here in verse 8, to no one nothing owe except to love one another, for he is loved the other, the law has fulfilled. Now that's a little bit different and it doesn't quite sound right, but that is the literal translation of that there. And it says here in the literal translation of that, which puts it more of in a readable, it says, owe no one anything except to love one another. For the one who loving the other has fulfilled the law. So I just let you take a look at that there. Now it has the Greek text in there and the Strong's number there. So if you can read Greek, you can actually read the Greek text there. So that is on that there. Like I said, this is a 7-point font here. So this is a very readable version here. I use this. This is one of the Bibles that I take alongside my primary Bible as I'm reading, studying, and paying a close attention to what the Word has to say. And like I highly recommend this set here. And like I said, this is a good price on this set here. And this will add understanding as you study the Word of God for yourself. I highly recommend that always just take a look at the text and get a grasp of the text before you consult study Bible notes or commentaries. Get a good grasp of what the text is saying, so when you look at those outside resources, you can make a proper determination whether it was a proper exegesis of the text, so saying what it means in the study Bible, or commentary saying you can come your own opinion because you've already spent time digging in and doing your own study in advance. That is real important to get a grasp of what the text is saying for yourself. Also, look at multiple translations to get a text. And once you've gotten a grasp of the text and what it's saying, then consult those outside resources to get additional insight on what that text is bringing out and what is it talking about. May you have a blessed day in the Lord this day.